Okay, brilliant. Hi, Helen. Good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Well, Helen, first of all, thank you for taking the time out to sort of do this, this account of your experience on the Coach Me Slim and Trim program and how you found it. I'm just going to ask you a few questions, and if just give us your answers, and be interested to hear how you actually experienced the program. Obviously, for people that don't know you who are watching this, maybe just give us a little bit about your background, if you would, please.
Yeah, sure. I'm an administrator for a firm of chartered surveyors and I work part-time there. I'm also a student at the Open University doing a psychology degree. And in what little spare time I have, I'm also a coach. So I like to pack it in.
You're a busy woman. That was something that came out when we first spoke, that you were very, very busy doing stuff. So I guess my first question then would be, what was... when had your weight become an issue, really? What was going on before you started the program regarding your weight and your health and all that sort of stuff? Where were you?
I think it had been worrying me for some time, actually. I think the weight had just started piling on slowly. And I'd got to the stage about the 6 months before I joined the program where I was uncomfortable in my clothes, uncomfortable with how I looked as well. And I just didn't like it. And I started wearing bigger clothes, stretchier clothes, that sort of thing, and covering it up. And I know now that I was in total denial with my weight gain, I'm afraid.
Yeah, sure. And did that have any sort of impact on you from a work point of view, the way you communicate with people? Did it have any impact there at all, or was that not an issue for you? The weight?
I think it had an impact not only on work but my friendships with people. I used to just kind of hide myself away a little bit more. I wasn't as confident at all, especially at work. I wasn't very confident, and the clothes that I wore made me look frumpy and older than I was.
Sure, which is a common thing I often hear from women. So another question for me then. So had you tried anything else before to lose weight?
Yes, I had actually. It was a few years previously, though. I did Weight Watchers for a while.
Sure.
And I just didn't get on with the program. I'm afraid it wasn't for me.
Okay, fine. And is that all you tried in the past?
Well, I tried to lose weight on my own, and that failed miserably.
Okay. And when you said you tried Weight Watchers, how did you get on with that? I mean, how long did you do that for? What was the outcome in terms of weight loss?
I tried it twice, actually. The first time I lost a few pounds, and then I didn't lose any more. I just felt that the calorie counting thing didn't really work for me.
Sure.
And I couldn't get on with that with my busy lifestyle. I tried it again after I left for about a year. I went back to it, and it just didn't work for me. I just didn't think the way that set up was, it wasn't very helpful for my lifestyle.
Okay, that's fair enough, because obviously it's successful for some people, but like all things, as indeed this program, it's not ideal for everybody. If we're being honest, people have to find what works best for them. So having had that experience then of trying other things, Weight Watchers, doing it yourself, what was it that actually attracted you to the Coach Me Slim and Trim program?
It was actually, and I remember this very, very clearly, because the decision was quite a big one to actually contact you. I looked at one of your webinars, and I remember I sat there in my dressing gown early on a Sunday morning, and I thought, I've just got to watch this because I'm getting to the point where I'm very unhappy. So I watched it, and at the end, I think you say something like, you can either give me a call to see if this program's okay for you,
Sure. Yeah.
Or you can do nothing. And I just thought, do you know what? I just don't want to keep doing nothing.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And so we obviously had a conversation, we had an initial telephone call.
Yeah.
And then we went into a more in-depth Zoom call at a different time and date.
Mm.
What was it, would you say, about the program that actually made you sign up for the program, having heard and seen and done the presentation or done the consultation via Zoom? What was it about the program that made you actually sign up for it?
There were a couple of things. I think the first thing was because it was online, it was just easy for me to do.
Sure.
I didn't want to go anywhere where I had to weigh in.
Right.
That was a big thing. I just didn't want to do that because I didn't like doing that previously.
Sure.
The fact that I could do the coaching videos as and when I wanted, that was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our one-to-ones at a very convenient time for me.
Sure.
So that was the first thing. The second thing is that I needed to get my head straight around weight loss, and I knew that this was the program to do it. And none of the other ways that I tried to lose weight before had addressed that.
Yeah, sure. Which is very interesting, given the fact you come from also a coaching background as well. So I'm guessing you may have seen a bit of the value in that aspect of the program as well, I suppose.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, very much so. And
what was your weight loss goal when you started, and what sort of time frame did you give yourself to achieve that weight loss?
I started in February this year, so 2021. I was 9 stone 6 at the time, I think slightly over. I was 10 stone 6.
I was just thinking, we.
Sorry, I was 10 stone 6.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to go back to that 10 stone thing.
We've extinguished that from your memory bank.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to lose a stone. So that was my original goal. I didn't really know about a time frame, and actually I took the pressure off myself with that quite early on. But I reached that goal, and then I went for another goal of 9 stone 3, and then I went for another goal of 9 stone.
Right. So you've lost in total
20 pounds.
That's fantastic. Great. And, with any weight loss journey, there are ups and downs. It's never a straight journey from point A to point B. There are often ups and downs. We've had discussions about various things that have happened, your degree course, work, monthly menstrual cycle, all those sorts of things that have gone on. What was it that kept you motivated to continue with the program when you were met with those types of challenges?
It quite honestly, it's always been my goal. So I did an original goal card the first few weeks of the program, and that has just been the shining light that I look at every time I have a bit of a wobble. I look at that goal card, and it's so I've actually got into that dress that's on my goal card, so I'm really pleased with that. And I've since done other goal cards as well, but it's always been that I just wanted to get there.
Yeah, sure.
And I wanted to feel how that I put such emotion into that goal card. There's an awful lot more than just a few pictures.
Yeah, sure. And it's something we often try and, explain to clients when we're going through the program, that, pretty much 99.9% of the women that go through the program, and yourself included, when you started, you knew about healthy eating, you knew about exercise, but it's just that mindset stuff, and it's how to structure, progress it, and that little bit of accountability that often tips the scales in your favor, to use an applicable kind of analogy, I suppose, given what we're speaking about. What would you say was your biggest challenge on the program when you're going through it? What did you find was the biggest thing that you had to overcome whilst you're going from 10.6 down to 9 stone?
I think for me it was keeping on track with meal planning. I think at the beginning it was difficult to swap foods that I'd been eating for years and years, and those were my go-to meals.
Yeah.
And get into a new way of eating and develop new habits for my eating, and that took me a while to get into. So that was the biggest challenge I think I had. Whereas now it's just the way I eat.
Okay.
And I have other challenges now, which mostly are time, life events going on. I'm in the middle of moving. I'm afraid we've had a bereavement this year. That it's that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. And just going back to the food side of things, did it come as a surprise to you that we didn't really get into talking about food in any great detail until week number 3? Obviously, you had the eating plans that we provide for you in the journal, and within the membership site area, there's a whole catalogue of things in there, which I think you've already accessed some already. But when we first started out on the program, was that a surprise that I didn't go into that until week 3 and we worked on other things first? Did that come as a surprise?
It wasn't so much of a surprise because you very clearly explained that that you were going to work on the mindset initially.
Sure.
When we had that initial chat.
Of course.
So I was prepared for that. And actually it was just the perfect thing to do, is to get your head in gear before you get your eating in gear. So,
right.
And I think that's what's kept me on track, because that's exactly what I needed to do, is switch something in my head that said, you don't need to eat as much, or you don't need to eat that thing.
Sure.
And you don't need to drink as much, that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, brilliant. And you've already alluded to it a little bit earlier, but for some people listening to this, they may think, well, how can it possibly work whereby you're accessing the online coaching program, which is what you did. You went through that in your own time, on your own schedule. And then you and I booked in for the accountability stroke feedback calls. How did you find that whole process of not coming in to physically see somebody, which a lot of people are used to, just accessing it online and watching it that way, and then having the accountability and feedback calls? How was all that for you? How did that feel?
I think it was a really good way for me to do it. When I started, we were in the middle of lockdown still, so I couldn't go anywhere to see anybody. But I think a weight loss journey is very personal. And I didn't want to go into an environment actually where I had to physically go somewhere, because I think that would have been the barrier that stopped me doing this. It was the fact that I could just open my laptop and I was there. I was talking to you, and every Sunday I email you my weight, and that keeps me accountable. So it's not as if I've had no support. The support has been there throughout the whole journey. And I think more so than if I'd have physically gone to a slimming club somewhere.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's good to hear. And talking about the support, because obviously you access the online coaching program, and then we had our one-to-one calls as well. And we also have the group coaching calls as well on a Thursday night, which not everybody attends, because some people want to keep it private and don't want to attend a group coaching call. And that's perfectly understandable. It's not a requirement for the program, but you chose to attend those. How did you find those? And how did you find the fact that we never speak about weight loss during those calls either? How did you find those?
I thought that was quite funny, actually, but that we don't speak specifically about weight loss, but it really works because we speak around the subject, and it's a very supportive environment. And the range of subjects that we have on those calls just it's a huge range. So it's fun as well as, educational and motivational as well. I always find at the end of the call, if I'm having a bit of a wobbly day and I think, oh, I'm hungry, I just think, right, gold card again, So it's a great bunch of people that we have, and it really works.
Yeah, great. And do you find yourself ever accessing those past calls that we've had, going over any of those at all? Because obviously we record them for people that can't attend, and we send them out via email. So if you missed a call, you can always catch up and watch what was said. Have you found yourself dipping back into any of those calls at all?
I have. I had a week where I think I put on 1.5 pounds, and I went back to I think there were mindset, diet and exercise audits. And those were useful to just give me a reminder about what I should be doing, and how I can get myself back on track. And there were a couple of calls I missed because of being away, so I went and had a look at those. So it's great to have those there if I need to.
Yeah, sure. And okay, so since losing the weight, the 20 pounds, how, if at all, would you say life has changed? Is it the same? Is it different? And if it is different, in what ways? Maybe just sort of share a bit of that insight, if you could, please.
It's different practically, but emotionally, it's hugely different.
Right.
So from a practical point of view, my wardrobe is starting to look very different now.
Sure.
And that's very nice. And I'm more confident in myself wearing clothes.
Sure.
So that's fantastic. But from an emotional point of view, I'm just happier in myself, just more confident. And I haven't even finished my journey yet as well, which is the most exciting thing. But yes, something has shifted in me, I think. That makes me believe myself a bit more.
Sure. And I know that when you started, you had a big significant goal coming up. I don't know if you want to share what that big goal is.
Yes, I'm going to be 50 at the end of January next year. And we're planning to go away to a very nice hotel in Tenerife. I've got my dress. I bought my dress even before I started on this program. Yes, I just want to go out and have a lovely time, and my goal was to not feel unconfident and not feel just as if I was covering myself up.
Sure.
I want to wear lovely clothes and feel good in them and feel relaxed. Yeah,
and you certainly have. Well, you've surpassed your goal, and for a lot of people, the body image is a huge part of it. I would say it's the biggest driver for most people, if they're being honest about it. But what else have you found has changed in terms of maybe your physicality and your physical abilities? Because, as you know, in the program we break it down to body image, hobbies, and health, and those two are interchangeable. For some people, health is often quite a big one ahead of hobbies. But how has it affected you in terms of your health and any hobbies that you might have?
First of all, health-wise, I have a condition which I've had a deep vein thrombosis in my leg, and for years I've had a very painful leg because of that.
Sure.
And having lost the weight, the pressure is now taken off, and my leg isn't half as achy as it used to be.
Sure.
So from a health perspective, it's been amazing, not to have that painful leg as a reminder of my condition. So now, apart from taking my medication, I don't have that reminder anymore, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So hobbies wise, I thought I was doing a fair amount of exercise before the program, but I was sitting on an exercise bike for probably about 15 minutes. I've since do a lot of more exercise in terms of variety. So I've always loved walking, and we do an awful lot of walking. I bought a rowing machine and a new exercise bike, and I love doing both of those.
Great.
I do the 6 appeal workout probably about 4 times a week, and I've expanded that and that sort of thing. And I set myself a new goal that next September we're going to walk just over 100 miles of the Camino in Spain.
Fantastic.
So, and I know that I can do that now.
No, fantastic.
I'm going to train for it, but I know that I can do it.
Well, we'll certainly catch up and get some nice pictures of you doing that as well. And just a little bit about the exercise side of things, because I know for some people they are maybe a little bit concerned about, well, how am I going to do the exercise? Will I be able to find the time to do it? Is it going to be too difficult? Is it going to be complicated? And you alluded to what it is. It's called the 6 appeal workout. Maybe just shed a bit of light on what that workout is like to do from a beginner's point of view in terms of simplicity, speed, and the starting point.
It's a really good workout. Not only have you got the videos, which I found really useful, just to get the posture right. In the manual, there are the pictures there as well. So, and I still have that in front of me when I do it.
Sure.
I know it off by heart, but I just still have it.
Yeah.
So the warm up I find a great way to just get my body moving. And in general, I do my exercise first thing in the morning now.
Sure.
And then I move on to the 6 appeal after the warm up. It took me a while to get the movements right, I have to admit, and I went back to the videos to make sure that I was kind of doing that okay.
Sure.
And then I've moved up from just not having any weights really to having a 6 kilo kettlebell, which I know for some isn't very weighty, but you know, for me, I didn't do any weights at all.
Exactly.
So
it's a progression. Absolutely correct. Yeah. And I guess just a final couple of things then, because I know a lot of people, one of the big things that a lot of women, I think, struggle with when it comes to not just the Coach Me Slim and Trim program, but any sort of weight loss program, the thoughts are fear of failure. You know, what if I fail again? You know, what will I do? I don't know if that was in your mind. And also the range of different eating options that we provide for you. So maybe we start off with, let's go with the eating options first in terms of what's available to you, because there'll be people thinking, oh, maybe it's going to be high protein, or it's going to be, don't have this, you can't have that. How have you found the range of menus and shopping plans that have been made available to you?
I found it fine, actually, and I have a better variety now than I did before, which is ridiculous, really. What I did do, and I made this decision myself, was to cut out starchy carbs in the evening straight away.
Sure.
And I now substitute, say, I used to eat a lot of rice. I now make cauliflower or broccoli rice, and I have that instead. Yeah. So I have a different variety. I eat lots of different things, and it's not hindered me in any way, actually. I just stick to the protein, fats and carbs.
Yeah. And in terms of the library of meal plans that are now available, because we recently upgraded that, how have you found those new sort of plans that have been made available to you?
Well, they're great, actually, because it gives you an idea and it makes it more motivational. So especially the visuals of seeing that, and they're very easy to do as well. So, and simple. So I like cooking anyway. So it's kind of nice to say, oh, I'm going to do that. And the ingredients aren't things that you have to go and really search for. They're kind of things that you've got in your store cupboard anyway and in your fridge. So that I really like that. Yeah.
No, great. And I'm glad you find that beneficial. And then in terms of this fear of failure, which I know a lot of people have, you know, what if I start and I fail again? How did you manage to get over that particular, if indeed you had that thought process at all?
I think my thought process was, I can't do it, more than fear of failure, because I hadn't even got to that point yet. It was, I just can't do this. And I think it was because of the history of what I'd done before. Maybe I'd lost a few pounds. It was never more than a few pounds, but I hadn't gone any further. And so I had it ingrained in me that I couldn't do it.
Sure.
So basically, to get over that, I had to start believing in myself. And the first few weeks of the program helped with that as well, and not beating myself up and that sort of thing.
Which is huge. That's brilliant. Okay, Helen. Well, look, you know, thank you for sharing all that insight and your experiences. You know, hopefully anybody listening to this will, even if they don't contact me, hopefully they can get some sense of inspiration that, look, even when things appear to be very difficult and maybe haven't had success in the past, it is possible to become successful when you find the right program, whether that's the Coach Me Slim and Trim program, a slimming club, or, you know, any other program that's out there. It's just really having the desire, I suppose, to want to do something. So in closing then, for anybody sat, you know, listening to this now, who are thinking, well, okay, that all sounds great. I'm interested, but I'm not sure, and I'm sitting on the fence, and I don't know if I should give Eric a ring. And what would you say maybe their next step should be if somebody was in that situation, and not necessarily telling them what to do, but what do you think might be an idea, let's say?
I'd say just give you a call, just to have a chat. You know, it costs nothing to have a chat.
Yeah.
But also, I go back to the thing I said about listening to your webinar. One of the options was do nothing. So I would say to somebody, imagine what will happen if you give Eric a call or do nothing.
Right.
So, because that for me was the sort of catalyst for actually, do you know what? I'm going to lose weight. And it is possible. It really is possible.
Brilliant. You've certainly shown that is the case. Well, Helen, look, thank you very much for taking the time out today. Good luck with the rest of the degree course you're doing as well.
Thank you.
And the Camino Way, and hopefully we can catch up and maybe we can get some snaps of you doing the Camino Way and maybe do a follow-up, which I like to do with people from time to time, as to where you are maybe in 6-12 months time possibly, which would be great to do.
Definitely.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for taking the time, Helen. Thank you.
Thanks.